When my ship went down, I drifted on a lifeboat for many days. I was at death's door when I came along Lorzan, a small island where all the women had half-bodies while the men came whole. Apparently, their genes had undergone some sort of mutation. They had test tube babies. They were a fairly advanced civilization, in some respects far advanced of us. I can't say I had a problem fitting in. In fact, they wouldn't let me leave, in fear I'd let them to the rest of the world. I simply settled down. One day I was allotted a wife, Miss Poe. In Lorzan, women with the lower half were referred to as Miss, and the upper half as Madame. I was lonely at the time, and the company was quite satisfying. And why not? Children in Lorzan are raised in government facilities, and family as an institution didn't really exist. When it came down to it, it was men living in their apartments by themselves, and they simply enjoyed having another person around the house was all. The point was, half a woman can fill the need quite well. Miss Poe became a part of my life in the course of time. I often felt there was an invisible upper body floating around her waist like a ghost. Once, in bed, I had the strange sensation of unseen arms embracing me, and I jumped back in fright. But it was just my mind, and I had little time for her. Whenever I felt the need, I went to her and tapped on her legs. She had nice, soft legs. Only I had to pare her toenails every few days. I was very depressed in those days and fell on Miss Poe wildly. I sucked her toes so hard that the skin was raw. Perhaps I would have liked a madame wife better, but as it was, they were all unavailable, being more desirable as an intellectual companion. When I finally decided to man a stolen boat and return home, I stared at every woman I saw, beautiful or not. Eventually, I married Lakshmi. She loved me very much, but little by little I grew dissatisfied. It wasn't her. Perhaps I just didn't like the idea of women with full bodies. It wasn't that I got used to the half-bodied women and couldn't accept whole ones. I don't think it was a question of merely habit. I think it was more than that. And despite all claims, it wasn't like I believed that women should always be inferior and perfect. That I didn't like the idea of men and women being physically the same. And I've never really thought about it, but it seems to me that the half, the partial, gives something that the whole, or what appears whole, doesn't. I grew more and more unhappy. One day I bought an axe, and 4 or 5 blows I cut her exactly in 2. Then there were the usual things, the police and such. I confessed to the crime. I assumed I would hang. But when the lawyer came, he told me the psychiatrist had certified I was mentally incompetent. And I thought, fine, good for me. If that idiot thinks I'm nuts, why should I complain?